Hi, I'm Jane Harjono, and I'm a nonfiction book coach and an embodiment coach. A nonfiction book coach might sound fairly self-explanatory. I help people who want to write their nonfiction book. An embodiment coach, maybe not so straightforward. One of the tools I use, or one of the modalities I have, is somatic education, and that's learning about yourself through your body. And I teach these group lessons, which are delivered verbally, and you're asked to do a series of movements. And in doing so, you uncover your habits and you're given alternatives to those habits so that when you complete the lesson, you have a different self-image. You have a different sense of yourself. You're a lot clearer on certain ways of thinking, your emotions, and how you sense things and how you do things. And it gives you more capacity to do things differently and to reach a little bit more of your potential in whatever it is that you're endeavoring to do. It sounds like a really big thing, and so what I want to do is give you an experience and for you to, for example, explore this idea of spaciousness and boundaries in order to feel like you can take up space or that you can share your voice. I have a lesson for you called the Big Mouth lesson. So one of the things that I urge you to do is to not fast forward this video and to do this video in real time. And the reason for that is I could give you the transcript and you could read it and you could go, yep, I've got it. I'll do that later, and you won't do it. But if you watch the video, or even better, do the video, then you will have an experience that is unlike any other, and the results will be unique to you and quite astonishing, but you have to be fully present and part of the process. So take that as a challenge, and I invite you to participate in the Big Mouth lesson. So here we go. Let's begin by sitting in a chair or lying on the floor comfortably with your knees bent and your feet standing if you're lying down. Now, the reason these lessons are delivered verbally is so that you are put into a state where you are engaging in the process through hearing words, translating them into meaningful movement for yourself. And I won't be demonstrating. And the reason I don't demonstrate is because imitation is really, it's very primal, it's very easy to do, and it bypasses a lot of the learning that can take place through the brain. And what we're wanting to do is retrain your brain, really. So I am sitting on a chair and I'm quite comfortable, but you don't have to copy the way that I'm sitting. So you're sitting comfortably on a chair with your feet flat on the ground, or you're lying on your back with your knees bent and your feet standing. And in this position, close your eyes and sense your tongue and your jaw. What do they feel like right now? And compare the left side to the right side. And notice your breathing. Don't change it. Just pay attention to what it's like to be you right now with the jaw and tongue that you have right now. And we're going to do a series of explorations to give you an unusual yet very pleasant experience inside your mouth. So the first task I'm going to ask you to do is to take your tongue and place it behind your upper front teeth. When you've found the right upper front tooth, you put your tongue on the back of it, and then you're going to count your teeth by touching once on the inside of the tooth and the outside of the tooth. So your eyes are closed, no one's looking at you, and you start with the upper right tooth in the front, and you touch the inside and the outside. Then you move to the second tooth. See if you can find it, put your tongue on the inside of that tooth, and then place your tongue on the outside of that second tooth. And then you come to the next tooth. Touch that tooth with in the inside surface of that tooth with your tongue, and then go to the outside of that tooth with your tongue. And then the next tooth. And you may find that you've never done this before, or if you have, how curious it is that sometimes you can tell where the next tooth is and sometimes you can't. You have to go back to the beginning and count how many teeth over am I? How many teeth along am I by now? And so you bring your tongue to the next tooth on the inside and then your tongue to the outside. And you carry on until you get to the very last molar, the inside of that tooth, and then you take your tongue to the outside of that tooth. And then when you're done, relax your tongue, put it back where it began, and notice your jaw. What does your jaw feel like on the right side? Has it changed position? Is there a different feeling of it from the inside compared to the left? And so we're going to do this process on the lower teeth. So place your tongue on the inside of the lower two front teeth on the right tooth, and then count your teeth, starting with this first right hand front lower tooth, touching the tongue on the inside of that surface and then to the outside of that tooth. And then you move to the second tooth to the right, touching the inside, then the outside of that tooth. And then you go to the third tooth along, if you can find it easily. Notice your breathing as you do this process. Are you clenching other parts of you? Are you able to undertake this task in a way that keeps you curious? Is there a sense of frustration? Is there a sense of where are we going with this? Why am I doing this? I want to stop. Is there, what thoughts are going through your mind as you seek to count the teeth on the lower right hand jaw, right side jaw, as you touch each tooth with the tongue on the inside of each tooth and the outside of each tooth? So there will be emotions that come up, and there will be sensations in the body, clenching, holding of breath, tensing of muscles, and you get to the last tooth. And finally you can rest. And then you notice, what is it like on the inside of my mouth, along the jaw on the right hand side, if I compare one side to the other? And now take your tongue and start to make circles on the inside of your cheek with your tongue. And to help you sense whether you're making a nice round, as precise as you can circle, you can put your hand on your cheek to feel the impression of that circle against the palm of your hand or your fingertips, and then change the direction of that circle. And then leave it and lower your hand and put your tongue back where it began and sense the inside of your mouth. And then inside that circle, take your tongue and write your initials. Write your initials, and again, put your hand on your cheek to see whether you are accurately writing your initials. Try printing your initials or doing an autographed version, cursive version of your initials, and then leave that. And then the final exploration is to take your tongue and put it in that groove between your upper front teeth on the right and your lip on the right hand side. And you're going to bring your tongue over the surface of your teeth up until the point where your circle was, and then bring the tongue down onto the lower right hand side outer surface of the teeth into the groove until you get to the midline again. So you've done a sort of C from your top right tooth under the lip along the inside of the cheek to that circle, and then back down in that groove between the teeth and the surface of the face, along the gum line and back to the inside lip and the outside of the lower front teeth. And then rest. And so you have a very different sensation of the left hand side and the right hand side of your face and of your mouth. Notice your breathing. Notice if there's any other tension in your body that you can let go of. Slowly turn your head from side to side and notice which side feels nicer or easier. And how are your eyes feeling? How is your breathing? And then get up and go for a walk around. Now you can leave this as a lopsided lesson, or you can go back and repeat this lesson on the left hand side. You might remember how to do it. And the brain works such that it can learn the other side quite a lot faster than the first side, especially if you've not done this lesson before. And then what I invite you to do is to do some writing now. What is it like to have more space inside, even if it's lopsided? What is it like to know your edges? And what are you writing about? How are you doing it? Are you doing it in a different way? Has how you see yourself changed at all? So I do this sort of thing, but in many, many different ways to help you access different ways of being, different ways of seeing, different ways of feeling, knowing, and doing, so that you can have a more enhanced experience of the creative process, which is always happening anyway. Thanks for joining me, and until next time.